Welcome back. Welcome back. Going to a different little series here that we haven't done before. We're going through each team and giving each player a grade so far for their season. It's going to be a new series, so stick around, subscribe, and you guys will hopefully be a fan of it and like this video if you do enjoy it. It's just quite simply as that. But today we got the Boston Celtics starting off with the league's best record-wise. I don't know about team, but we'll get into it. So we'll start off with their star player, Jason Tatum. We gave him a B+ grade for his season. I think he's had a very good season. I think I would say, in the MVP conversation. I just don't know if it's the best Jason Tatum season we've had or if what we're going to get. So I can't give him an A yet, but what are your guys' thoughts on his season so far?
Y'all know what I need to see. I got to see him close the deal. For sure. Or at least get close. And I know we all saw that video with Bron saying, all NBA greats who didn't win a chip by blank, and Tatum's 3 years below that. But I still got to see him put a good run together at the very least, which I think they will do. They're built well, but he's been shooting the ball well. They've been moving the ball well, and I think him, taking not a back seat, but he's not afraid to share the rock in there.
A bit. What? Sacrificing a bit.
So I'll give him credit for that.
Big time, especially with Jrue stepping up, that gives them a little bit more space. So the fact that he's able to sacrifice like that and put his team in the best positions to win as much as they have, 60 games, right? And
already, just crazy.
Very crazy. And like my twin said, I just want to see you execute. And as the leader of your team, I must say, as the messenger of my home, better watch out, boy.
Only reason he's not getting an A is because he hasn't closed out.
Well, I mean, this is a regular season grade.
No, in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, he's lost a lot of close games, to be fair.
He's had some late game errors.
But, I mean, he's also had some late game moments where he's clutched the deal. I just think we're at the point now where, we're just looking at the stats overall for the season and seeing where this guy's at, what we've seen from the games we've seen him play. I mean, for all the stuff that we give him for bad shot selection and all of that, taking too many pull-up middies and threes and all that, he's shooting 47.5% and 38 from three. He's shooting good numbers. So, you can't really get on him for it. I would like to see him drive the ball a little more and just be more of a force in the lane than which he is, but he just has to do it more instead of taking pull-up middies like he's a 6'5" or less guard. But, I mean, overall, he's had a really, really good season for him, and I just can't wait to see. He'll probably win an MVP at some point because Celtics are always going to be good. So, moving on to the second star of this team, Jaylen Brown. We gave him a B- for his season so far. I think based on expectations in the beginning of the season, we kind of had him again pegged as a 26+ point per game guy. That dropped a little bit with obvious reasons because they all have to sacrifice for this team to be great, and he's doing it. I think Jaylen Brown's having one of the more low-key seasons. I know you both are big-time Jaylen Brown haters, but I mean, he's having a solid season, 50% from the floor, 36% from three is not great for his standards, but still, I mean, I think he's having a good season, and I think he's allowing other players to have an increased role, which I think has really benefited the Celtics, because I don't know if Jaylen Brown can be a clear-cut 2 on a championship team, which I think Jrue and Derrick White and Porzingis have kind of molded themselves into being they're all very suitable and 2s. So
that's a fact. I'm not going to be as upset as I could be. I just know 2 seasons ago, there was a narrative going around about who's the number one guy between him and Tatum. And the fact that was a conversation, it shows not only what we just talked about, Tatum's, I would say, lack of execution and just not having stepped into his leadership role just yet, but I think it shows how great of a player Jaylen Brown is and can be. And like you said, with the addition of Derrick White, we just said Jrue Holiday, you got a lot of cats stepping up. You got Porzingis over there now. I think that he could still, really, really, you know what I'm saying? And he does. And I'm excited to see how they move forward, after these 82.
I've been hating on him a lot this year. I've been nitpicking some stats, but I find it pretty admirable that he's also taken a backseat. He's been distributing more. He's been working himself more into the flow of the offense rather than jacking shit up. He's definitely still jacking some shit up, but like he's been playing a different brand of basketball this year, which I appreciate. So, I wanted in my heart of hearts to give him a D, but we met in the middle at B minus.
Pause.
Oh my god,
that's not your best one. That's not your best moment.
oh my god.
Moving on to D White, Derrick White. We given him an A. I think we'll move on to Porzingis in a second, but I think his increased role now with Marcus Smart and Malcolm Brogdon gone, and you kind of bet on Derrick White to take a bigger step in your offense and as a role, and by doing so, he's delivered, like full out delivered, and by having Derrick White be as good as he is, he's just like, you want him on every NBA team you possibly like. You ever a fan of a team, you want a Derrick White. He's a guy that's going to give you 40% shooting from three. He's going to give you all effort all the time. Like he's just a pro's pro. And yeah, I mean, he's averaging 15, 5, and 4. Like that's all you can ask for as like not a quote unquote star point guard, but he is damn sure a star in his role. He's probably the best role player in the NBA if you even put him in that category anymore.
That's a fact.
I just want to say for a sec, that was devious work right there. That pause. I'm just still ruminating on that moment. D White's been hooping. Most reliable player on the team, in my opinion, besides maybe a Jrue Holiday. There's guys who are better basketball players than other guys, but there's guys who's you're confident when the ball's in their hands, no stupid turnovers or not as much as some people. And he's one of those guys, and every good championship or playoff team needs a guy who can you can give them the ball and maybe they won't score, go get a bucket by themselves, but they're not going to dribble it off their foot. And I feel like he's been doing a great job of just filling all the gaps for them.
That's a fact. Out of all of the category of 3-and-D guys in the league, I would say Derrick White is the number one guy. He could fit in any system. Kind of like how we talked about Bruce Brown really fulfilled for Denver last season. I think that Derrick White is that caliber of player that can't do wrong because he's going to show up every night. He's going to be consistent, and he's going to not only put himself in the best position, but also put others in the best position, his teammates in the best position to succeed, whether that be offensively or defensively. So shout out to D White.
TOT futures, by the way, if they win the finals, he wins finals MVP. Keep an eye on that. He gives those vibes that he would steal one of those.
He would have to average so many more points than he does.
26.
Keep an eye on it.
If he averages 26, 6, and 6, no fucking doubt.
I would say 26, 8, and 11 in order to get finals.
Right. No. But moving on to I would say probably the biggest key to the success of the Celtics this season, Kristaps Porzingis. I want to give a shout out to Joe Mazzulla for how he's using Porzingis because he's still letting him be himself, shooting a lot of threes and stuff like that, and posting them up occasionally. But Porzingis is doing the one thing that the Celtics really asked of him: protect the rim as a weak side defender when the best perimeter defense in the NBA gets blown by, which he's done a really good job at. And also, he's just absolutely destroying mismatches. So whenever there's a switch, because teams have to switch against a team like the Celtics because they can switch pretty much, their outside four can all handle and go off the dribble. So you have to switch. So you get a mismatch on Porzingis where you get a small forward or point guard, whatever, and he's shooting like 70% or 65% on mismatch post-ups. It's just an auto bucket. I know it's the most efficient play in all of basketball is a Porzingis post-up. Think about that.
He's not like that way last year as well.
Yeah, I think so. But you're not posting up a Joel Embiid with Porzingis. You get him switched on a Tyrese Maxey or a Tobias Harris, and it's easy work. Like, it's just one of those things where I thought that there would be questions because Joe Mazzulla loves to live and die by the three. And I mean, this team is shooting the shit out of the ball. Like, they're by far and away the best 3-point shooting team. But I just think that Porzingis unlocked so much for them, which I was a little bit worried about to start the season when they made all these moves. But man, he's been great.
That's a fact. Shout out to KP. Way to get comfortable in the system. And I just want to see you execute. I want to see you show up. When it comes time to, run 5 out in the playoffs, if you do need to, if you end up in a matchup with Embiid or whoever the case may be, I need to see the 3 ball stay consistent, because that's what's really going to be needed, because I think there's going to be a lot more required from Jason Tatum to penetrate the defense and get to the rack a lot easier, and be able to look on the cut or in the corner, and KP can camp out. You know what I'm saying? And I think that will come in heavy big time during the playoffs.
Another guy who's been filling the gap, playing great ball, rebounding the shit out of the ball, taking care of the ball as well to an extent, and being a good rim protector, even if it's weak side, and blocking off, a lane for someone maybe to make them hesitate on a drive they would have taken. That's stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, and he's been doing a great job.
I just think his impact around like everything that we thought Porzingis, like what the Celtics could be with Porzingis, like that's what we thought about in the offseason. Like at their ceiling, I think this is the ceiling of how good this team can be. Like I think they really are the best at this core of guys is right now. Like I think everything we had questions about coming into the season kind of got put to bed, and this is the team we're seeing. But moving on, Jrue Holiday, we gave him a B for his season so far. I think he's been pretty much what you can ask from a Jrue Holiday. I don't think he's having the bigger role as everyone thought he might when he came onto the team and all that. But he just is doing all the little things, and he's just honestly really, really important to how the Celtics guard, because there's going to be teams that when he needs to switch onto a bigger guy, he can go and pressure that. When you want to give some full court pressure, Jrue can give you that. And you flip it around, when the Celtics are on offense, they have to cross match and throw a big on Jrue Holiday because he's not handling the ball as much. So then you have him just exploiting mismatches all the time. So, I mean, that's easy work for Jrue Holiday. So, like, he's just been a kind of a safety valve for the Celtics, and just in terms of leadership, execution, all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, the point total and all the assist numbers aren't, like, drastic improvements or declines from his previous seasons. And I think that's just due to his role being a little bit diminished, but I think it's an important role that is being diminished at this point.
That's a fact. For them to lose Marcus Smart and lose Malcolm Brogdon just defensively, I think that Jrue picks up the weight that both of those guys were able to carry last season for the Boston Celtics. And I think that says enough about his energy and his presence that is very much needed for the rest of the guys to absorb, to be able to play as strong of a defense as they will need to coming up very soon in these next few weeks.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, Finn.
I was going to say, like Slim said with Marcus Smart, he's filling that gap. Really reliable, really consistent, playing good defense, active hands. And like Matt said, he's a great safety net. Any team would be lucky to have him. And you need guys like that when you're going on a championship run, especially deep in the playoffs. Experience he's had. He's a champion himself. So,
yeah. And then I'm going to group the next few guys in the same tier here, but we got Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard. Two guys that I think coming off the bench, you didn't really know what you were going to get, because like Peyton Pritchard came in spurts in his past seasons and played really well in those spurts, but it was also against the last 5 guys in the rotation. So you didn't really know what you were going to get. He got asked to have a bigger role, and I think he's delivered. And then Sam Hauser, I mean, guy's just a sniper, like flat out. I know he gets hunted a little bit on defense, which is fine, because generally most top-end three-point shooters are going to be a little bit lousy on the defensive end. But he's held his own, and I think just having all the other guys around him has really made Sam Hauser look really good. And I guarantee you, any team in the Eastern Conference, if you've watched the game versus the Celtics, he's probably hit 3+ threes in at least 1 or 2 of those games.
He's annoying.
And you're like, dude, fuck this guy. Yeah. And everyone on the Celtics and Celtics fans fucking love this guy. So that's how you know that you're doing something right. If some guy's pissing you off, you're not a fan of. But
yo, what they say about my haters, son?
Come on, they make you greater, man.
Shout out to my haters that make me great. I hate them. And shout out my boy Toph, big Hauser guy.
Yeah, fact.
But any thoughts on Pritchard and their season so far?
Pritchard really been stepping up as a late 12. I'm gonna let you get into it because I want to hear you cook. I know that's your guy, so
that's a fact. first of all, shout out to Joe Mazzulla, not only, leading the team to as many wins as they've gotten, but the reason why they've won those games is due to his allowance of, players just to play their game, rock out, and really play to their benefit, and play to the team's benefit. And Peyton Pritchard is one of those guys. Sam Hauser is also one of those guys. But the fact that Peyton Pritchard can step in, play great defense, and give you some big time buckets and give you some big time assists to, a Sam Hauser or whoever it is that could be next to him. It could be Derrick White. It could be whoever. I see Joe Mazzulla implementing the cat in a lot of the schemes that they got going on, and just trust him to rock out. So shout out to Peyton Pritchard doing his thing. You know what it come down to.
He's underrated, criminally underrated. He's another guy. He's a rip your heart out guy.
Yeah, when those random, I don't want to call him random because I think he was just kind of a meme at first, but now he's really getting minutes. But like kind of just those random guys off the bench that just come in and just have one of those random.
What's his name on the cap?
Sam
Merrill.
Sam Merrill. Yeah, just like guys like that to just come in and just either attack or hit a ton of threes. Like they're just the worst to play against because you're like, who even is this fucking guy? And it's always when you're down 22. But last, we're just going to go with the bench bigs, Al Horford, Luke Cornett. I'm just going to give him a C+. I think they've both been solid this season. I don't think anything too crazy. It's kind of what we expected from them. So I'm going to give him a C, which is, I would say, is about just an average grade. Like Cornett's playing very limited minutes, but when he does come in, he's providing some decent rebounding, shot blocking, positional defense. But he's not holding them back, which I think is super important. And then Al Horford still just doing elderly Al Horford things, spotting up.
Yeah, but he's such a rock though. He's still playing good ball. He looks the same as he looked in 2017. Shout out Al. He's got a hot wife. He's been holding it down. I hope he plays for at least a couple more years.
That guy's crazy. Shout out to Al. Shout out to Luke Cornett holding it down. They'll definitely need those cats stepping into the playoffs, especially playing, I would say, a lot more
bigs,
stronger guys compared to KP and Sam Hauser. I think that they're gonna need those like Twin said, rock, stability, foundation. And that comes in handy when you got Jrue Holiday. That comes in handy when you got Peyton Pritchard scrappy. That comes in handy when you have everybody with active hands and looking to get steals and be able to push the ball in transition, to JT or JB or, JB is one of those cats as well, great defender. And I'm excited. It's going to be trouble for the East.
Coach Mazzulla, grade from TOT. I'm going to do an executive grade, A+. He's been phenomenal this year. Only coach in the NBA to play defense on a defender this year. You didn't see that clip, Matt?
Like I probably did.
See close out.
He closed out on I forget
somebody
who it was.
Phoenix,
it was hilarious though.
Oh yeah,
he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys who I thought Jacques Vaughn would be. Practices with the players in drills. They're all real tight. He knows how to lead with an iron fist, but they're also cool with each other. He has great schemes they've implemented. Their rotations are crisp. He's been a huge reason for their success. Big time A+ for Joe Maz, and I respect his beliefs.
Joe Mazzulla's been great, but I mean, I think the A+ is warranted. You win 60 games before the season's over already, and it's insane. And yeah, I mean,
I give him coach of the year over the Thunder coach.
No, because the Celtics had the expectations to be this good. The Thunder were kind of question marks. But
that makes it harder, bro. You got to put it all together.
True. But yeah, that's it for this one. If you guys want to leave your season grades in the comments for the Celtics, please do that. But if you enjoyed,
drop a team you want us to do.
Yeah, facts. But comment, subscribe, and peace.